Hello everyone, it's Scott and welcome back to another episode of Regrowth. I'm back and I did a little bit of research into the problem at the end of last episode. So what I ended up doing was using the AE2 ME system to auto-craft 4 advanced solar generators. Well, it turns out that the quest book for advanced solar generators is configured a little differently. I had to look this up on the forums. And apparently these are not the have the item in your inventory quests. These are crafting quests. So I actually have to physically craft the 32 blocks and the 4 advanced solar generators here. And so I've been prepping here in this box, just kind of getting all the materials together to finish off those 4 advanced solar generators. And to do that, I've been doing a lot of automation. So let me walk through some of the changes that I've been doing in between episodes while this ticks. So the first thing I did was I separated the metallurgic infuser. So there's 2 formulas now and that were conflicting. So before there's a formula that uses redstone and iron and a formula that uses coal and iron. And so those were backing up, and so when I was doing these large orders, it wouldn't actually craft the right kind of material. So I created 2 infusers to kind of unjam the process. So now down here I did a lot of upgrading. So the first thing you'll notice is I now have an iron tank filled with lava. Yes. 1.1 million millibuckets, so 1,100 buckets of lava. And I did that using this crucible furnace. So there is a formula for lava using the essence of fire. And so you can use it to make lava buckets or cobblestone. But if you throw it in a crucible furnace, it'll actually boil down to 1/4 of 1 bucket of lava. And so I just set up a piping network using basic mechanical pipe, which is Mechanism's fluid conduits. And that dumped into this iron tank here. And so I can hold up to 2,800 buckets, which is pretty cool. Over here, I reconfigured all the rolling machines. So each one of these is now dedicated to a certain kind of plate, and that way I can hook these up with a ME interface and a plate request pattern to basically generate the whatever I have a formula for that requests plates can now generate them on the fly. So that's pretty cool. And as I demonstrated before, I can use the configs here to auto draw out items. So I was using this to do 2 things. I was pumping lava out into an iron tank, and then for a while I was also pumping cobblestone out into the ingot caster to create seared brick. Now, seared brick in Tinker's Construct is used to make smelteries. So one of the things I did was I created an area down here with a tiny little smeltery, like literally 6 blocks. And so here I have a exporter from the ME system for osmium. So if I have a bunch of osmium essence, I can just whip up a build request, and that'll create the osmium ore, which will dump out here in the smeltery to create osmium, molten osmium, which will then automatically fill up this casting basin to create osmium blocks, which are then pumped back into the ME system. Now over here, and then of course underneath the tank I've installed 4 valves, and so the tank's lava is automatically feeding the smeltery to kind of top off the fuel here, so I never have to futz with it. Now there's a graphical error here. You can see this is like flickering purple whenever it needs to top off the last 5 or so millibuckets. Not sure why it's doing that, but yeah. So over here, I also have a automatic formula to make burnt brick. So burnt brick is something that has to be made in the vat. So let's check out that formula. So the vat will take nether brick, combine it with lava, and create burnt brick. And I need the burnt brick in order to make these brick construction blocks that I then need to make all sorts of other stuff. So actually what I need is it to make the crucible furnaces and more rolling machines. That's really what I needed the automation for. So if I ever need more burnt brick or anything lava based in a vat, I can just add more things here to the automation and I'd be all set. So now up here you can see a little bit underneath I've prepped for some ME automation here. I have hooked this chest up to an import bus, so anytime I want to craft chipsets now, I can just select them here, and the lasers will begin building the item. And once the chipsets are made, they're dumped out into the chest, which are then automatically sucked into the ME system. So the next transformation is to basically take all these items out and hook them up to formulas, so that way the right amount of stuff is dumped in here into the assembly table. So the formulas will build the stuff on demand. So that'll work out pretty cool. So let's head around back upstairs and check out the formula. So that's done. I now have 4 solar generators. And with that, I've now completed everything I need to make 4 advanced solar generators. So let's grab everything back into the inventory. And find ourselves a crafting block. So where would be the closest one? Over here probably. It's not that I don't trust the ME system, I just want to make sure I get this right. So, oh, that's why. So these guys are going to need to go in here. I guess it's the conflict with the energy tablet. And these guys go here, and these guys go here, and done. Okay. So, all right, there's number 2, number 3, and number 4. Advanced generators. Awesome. And there we go, 4 advanced solar generators. And so for the last piece here, I want to make sure that I craft that up correctly. So let's check out the solar evaporation block. So these are just going to be copper plate and a dynamic tank. The tanks are basically steel and portable tanks. And so I've kind of prepped a little for that. The dynamic tank, so let's make 32 of them. Yep, pretty complicated, but not a problem. Let's start that. And head over here to the rolling machine where I've been prepping with more copper. So let's throw that in. Okay, it looks like there's still a problem here with this metallurgic infuser. So see, it's not loading in the coal correctly. I have to basically take it out and click it again, and that will then force it to reload. So not sure what else I can do. I might be able to replace the logistical transporters with a logistical sorter, because that seems to work on a 1-by-1 basis. I'll give it a shot to see if it'll unjam the infuser, but yeah, I want to make sure that the
Okay, there we go. So things are starting to roll in. Okay, so it's transforming the wrought iron back down to the enriched iron, and it looks like things are loading in fine now. Okay, yes, done. So with that, it's still making more steel. So, alright, so instead of doing railcraft steel, what I can do is make mechanisms version of steel. So essentially, again, adding carbon, so basically coal or charcoal, against enriched iron, which is made from wrought iron and coal. The steel dust melts down into steel ingots in the smeltery, and then steel ingots can be used for anything that the other railcraft steel can be used for. So fortunately, then I made other formulas to create steel plates, and yep. So let's check the formula here, and it looks like everything is done. So solar evaporation blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, just need to make 32 of them. And I ran out of copper. So let me burn down a couple more stacks of copper, and I'll come back for the final build. All right, that should do it. So I have enough copper now, as well as dynamic tanks. So let's make the last 12, and then that should give us the 32 that we need to complete this quest. Alright, so it's going to give us 64 more, and so I just prepped to make a copper plate formula, so I can now order up more on demand, which means I can now make the dynamic tanks, as well as the evaporation blocks. So let's whip up a formula for that. Alright, now that that's done, let's whip up a formula for solar evaporation blocks and throw that into the ME system. And as you can see, I'm rapidly running out of slots in my assembly units, so I'm going to need to create those very soon. So the solar evaporation blocks, let's whip up another 40 of these, I think. Yep. Now I can use the ME end-to-end to craft them. Now that there's no restriction in the quest book, so this is just going to run through. It's going to, unfortunately, these circuits take a long time, and I'll definitely take a look at the infuser and try to unstick that jam. But let me grab the other blocks here, and so this is setting up for a pretty crazy multi-block. So let me think where I'm going to place it. Might as well just place it out here next to the base. So let's head down, and let's see, right about here would probably be good. So it's within the confines of the base. And so what it looked like I needed to do was set up a 4x4 structure. Alright, I'm going to try this again, since I didn't quite follow directions the first time. So I laid out a 4x4 pattern, and the key is I need to put 2 to 3 valves on the bottom, and I only made 2 so far, and it's not. I think I'm going to need a little bit of spacing here to kind of keep everything from conflicting
with the pipe solution that I'm using, but the key is that I just needed these 12 block circles. I made things a little too large, and yep. So I think with this I should be able to support a much taller structure than I did before. So at least at this point, each level that you add adds I think a certain amount of processing of lithium, and that's what I'm going to need to make the next tier of power production things within mechanisms. So this particular multi-block can be up to 15 blocks high, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough material to do all of that. Nope, in fact, there we go. So just topped it out. I can't even make another layer here. Let's reduce it. And so according to the directions, I'm going to need to add the 4 solar devices here in each of the 4 corners, and then I'm going to place the evaporation controller here on the top layer. So let's throw those out and throw the solars in each of the 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. And done. We see that it transformed, gave a little sparkle, and let's see, I'm stuck in the bounding block. That's just great. Can I even get out? No, I can't. Alright, so I'm going to have to break this. Alright, go Minecraft. Alright, let's add that. Walk a little bit out here. Place the block again. Good. Okay, so it's an 8 height multi-block at this point. Looks like I can handle up to 10,000 Kelvin. A little bit of water isn't going to process yet, but let's figure out what we need to do to get this guy working. Alright, it's daytime, so let's check on the machine. So at this point, it looks like we're slowly heating up, and I hooked the machine into the water system. So fortunately I had run some water piping just under here in order to work with the old carpenter blocks, and so I've moved the carpenter blocks but the water network was still there, so I just rerouted it to pump into the system, but it looks like it's not keeping up with the demands. Yep, it's empty. So it's not keeping up with the demands of the solar evaporation controller. Now it looks like I'm also creating brine at a pretty good click. So let's see, click here for recipes. So brine turns into liquid lithium, and liquid lithium can be processed. Let's see, what can we do with it? Looks like it can be pumped through a condensator into regular lithium, which can then be, what can we do with regular lithium? Looks like we can turn it into lithium dust with the crystallizer, or tritium. And tritium is where we start to get into nuclear fuel. Alright. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So what I need to do next is come up with a way to process this brine. So let's see, I think my best bet is to make another set of iron tanks and channel that off into another storage system. So to make this, looks like I have some items, but good. Iron plate. So earlier I had made some formulas to kind of crank these out. Now, where do I want to put... Let's see, I have a set of valves. Where do I want to put this, though? Probably down underneath. So I'll need a fair amount of space here. Probably either 5 by 5 or, let's see, diameters have to be in ticks of 2. So I could go with a 5 by 5 layout. Probably over... I might as well just put it right here. And, that'll be a nice wall then for the base. So let's work this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I might want to build it into the wall. Yeah, why don't I do that? And also lay it down a layer. So this might be a little manual intensive. Let's see. 3, 4. Let's put it down. Oh, okay. No, actually, I do want to keep it up at this level, and the input has to be within the bottom 2 blocks of the. Oh, okay. Well, then, if it's within the bottom 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that could definitely work right here. I'll just square this off to maybe about there. Okay, so that's where I'll put the iron tank. And I just want to get this up running, kind of the base, well, probably the minimum amount I need to get this moving forward. But let's see, 25 blocks for the bottom, another 25 for the top. Let me whip up a couple more in the ME system. Okay, good. Awesome. That'll be enough. Alright, so let's make this 5 tall. Alright, that'll be great. And one more over here. Kill that guy. Okay, which means I can fill these in. And do I have, yep, a couple more. So let's leave the front as using the gauge, just so we can see it. Okay, so now it's transformed into the multi-block, but I need to be able to pump things in and out. So let's put it here. So I'll have one valve for the input, and then the export can be up probably right here. Why not? Good. Okay, so let's grab ourselves a little bit of piping. So mechanical piping should work fine. Let's we don't need a lot of it, so let's just go with this. 1, 2, 3, and then I need that configurator to turn this into a export, a pool. Okay, so now we are extracting the brine, and it looks like it can hold 2,000 buckets worth. That'll be great. Boy, I need a better access point then to the upstairs, rather than, well, what's going to end up me running around in a circle now. So let's just break through for now and check the progress. All right, so the brine's empty. The fluid input is empty. It's processing the water as fast as it can. And I'm up to 41 buckets worth of brine. Great. So at this point, I think I'll probably make a another water pump or two and see if I can get the speed of water increased. And let me see if I can do that, and then I'll cut right back. Alright, I'm back, and what I ended up doing was building an array of the Buildcraft Factory pumps. So putting them over water source blocks in a 3x3 pattern turns them into a infinite pumper. And what I ended up doing was putting in advanced mechanical pipe, which ended up not filling. So each one of these is good for 400 buckets a tick, and I guess with 5 of these I'm not exceeding that limit, which is why it's kind of fluctuating as water is pumped in and then sucked out by the machine. So let's head back up and look at the, well, you're not going to see much here because actually it's running full tilt at 10,000 Kelvin. It's sucking out as fast as I'm creating the brine, and at this rate I'm getting brine probably about a bucket per second. Whoops. Hate those guys. So getting about a bucket a second of brine. So at this point I'm probably going to make a second tank and start making lithium out of this stuff. So let me deal with my monster problem, and I will see you when I get back. Alright, I'm back, and I have a pretty respectable amount of brine that I've been working with in the tanks. And I expanded the pumps yet again, so it turns out that each pump is only like 10 millibuckets per tick. So in order for me to top off one of these 400 millibuckets per tick pipes, I'm going to need just a huge amount of pumps, of which I'm not really willing to make that investment. So the device down here is currently kind of sort of stable. It's pumping out water right now. Water feeding in is converting into brine, which is being pumped out into the iron tank. So what I'm going to do is show what I've been doing to kind of flip the direction. So let's take this pipe out, and what should happen is that very shortly the device will finish burning down that water reserve, and then all the brine that it creates, yep, is going to unpower. So what I'm going to do is flip to this set of pipes, and I'm going to make this one an extract, and I'm going to flip the sign here. So right now I'm working with almost 1,000,000 millibuckets of brine. Flip that guy around, and what I have now is liquid lithium. So the lithium is well, basically absorbing brine and kicking out lithium as fast as I can produce it, and all of that is going and routing upstairs to this tank over here. So I've been flipping about 3 times now, and I've worked up to 300, well, yep, okay, 400 buckets worth of liquid lithium. And so that's, I think, a pretty good place to start. As I ran through the base here, I expanded the ore burning facility downstairs, kind of capped it off with some borderless glass. I finally found a floor material that I like, and that's the factory block. The factory block is something with chisel that just kind of burns through. It's a pretty simple stone and iron formula, but there's a lot of different varieties that kind of kick off a lot of industrial-looking devices. So I kind of like this one, and I like the this particular metallic one. So let me just throw this down. You'll see. So it's sort of like a beam, an old rusty beam looking thing. So I'm going to try putting the factory blocks down as my floor, at least here among the automation areas, and so that should work pretty good. So then that kind of caps off the lithium production, which I'm pretty happy at this point. So I think I'm ready to move on to the next steps of mechanism, which here is getting gassy. So I'm going to need to make a gas tank and an electrolytic separator. I have a feeling that the gas tank is probably the simpler device. Let's take a look at this. I need iron dust, steel plate, and osmium. So I can just whip up an order of, here we go, osmium. Let's make 10 of those. Ding. So the I've been trying to burn down a lot of the essence, but it's not really working so well. As you see here, I have 15,000 iron essence, but yet I'm continuously running out of iron. So the problem is it's not being processed into what do I need? I need to throw one of these in the crusher. Alright, so gas tank. Sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked. So I'm going to need some steel plate and iron dust. So let's whip up a batch of steel plate. Okay. And we're going to need iron dust, which I can also create. Great. And so between the three, that should get me the formula for the gas tank. Alright, let's head up and see if stuff got jammed up again. But, nope, that's actually looking good. And empty. Okay. I think we're just waiting on stuff to clear out of the routing. Okay. Yep, steel plate. Well, enough of it got made that I can at least make the formula for it. So let's see how much. Yep, so let's make one gas tank. And next is the electrolytic separator. Ah, this is a little wacky. Alright, so I'm going to need a gas tank, energy tablet, portable tank, electrolytic core, of which I have almost nothing here. So the electrolytic core question, is that going to be used for a lot of things? The separator, a gas burning generator, that's about it. So I'm not going to go too crazy on this guy. Though I am going to need a lot of dusts and chipsets at this point. So let's prep for that. Yeah, I have a lot of essence of gold. Alright, so let's whip one of these up. There we go. Oh, actually I should put that in my inventory here. Let's head up and throw that into the crusher, or is it the enricher? Yep, it was the enrichment. So let's put it in here and let that chunk out. Let's make one of the basic control circuits, of which I'm going to need redstone chipset, which at this point maybe I would need to actually look into what it's going to take to build one of the interfaces. So let me just extend this guy over here. Well, I should really burn down the all the inventory that's in here. So let's just set this up with a redstone chipset and wait for a couple of these guys to pop out. So they're being absorbed back into the ME system. So let's take a look at the circuit and go. And lastly, we're going to need to make that osmium dust. So let's throw that in the enrichment chamber also. Great. And again, I'm going to need to make some speed upgrades for these guys, just to kind of start plowing ahead. So I'm definitely running out of room in the molecular assemblers, which actually I'm at the last one. So that's going to be another round of upgrading. So let me, rather than waste time here, let me, yeah, I'm going to need chipsets. Okay, so let me do a little, let me take a cut and see if I can hook that assembler up to the ME system to make some of these guys on demand. Alright, well that took quite a bit of time, so let's take a look at the separator and see where I am with this. So I've almost crafted everything. I had formulas for the portable tanks and circuits. The last guy is the electrolytic core, which I can get, thank goodness. And finally, the electrolytic separator itself. Okay, so let's plug this guy, I don't know, over here. Sure, why not? Let that charge up just a bit. And so this is going to be quite the number of recipes, but what I can do is basically, salt water can be broken down into sodium and chlorine, and heavy water and the deuterium and oxygen, water itself and the hydrogen and oxygen. So I can use this to kind of build up my various gases that I'm going to need for building the advanced machinery. So let's take a look at the quest book. And I have all the pieces, which is now going to give me 2 additional gas tanks. Alright, so at this point I'm going to have to call it an episode. Running a little over my normal time, so I'm going to take a look at what machines I'm going to need for the next phase of mechanism. I'm going to also keep pumping additional lithium into this storage container and see if I can top that off or come up with a better way of flip-flopping materials. I'm also going to try to fix the issue with the mechanism automation up there with some of the some of the steel formulas, and at that point I should have everything I need to actually get to a stable RF production point. So with that, please leave a comment or a like, and I will see you next time in Regrowth. Bye!